Hey guys, I'm Chris. This is MMA For You. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC Fight Night 80, VanZant versus Namajunas, which happens on December 10th on UFC Fight Pass. But before I get into that, I'd like to plug my website at www.chrismoldon.com. I am an aspiring author, and you can check out my website for stories for sale, free short stories, the Writer's Talk web series, and updated blogs. Also, my first book, my first novel, The Mustard Prince and the Condiment Kingdom, is coming out on January 1st. And to celebrate that, I would actually like to present you guys a contest. The two winners will get a free digital copy of The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom. All you got to do is send in your predictions for UFC Fight Night 80, the upcoming Ultimate Fighter finale, UFC 194, and UFC on Fox 17. I'll have like templates for it on descriptions. Pretty much the way I'll make this work is whoever gets the most predictions between these four cards will pretty much be the winner. And like I said, the winner will get a free copy, free digital copy of The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom. So, yeah. In order to do this, please do not send in your predictions in the comment section. Go to the C&D channel at gmail.com and send in your predictions through there, please. I won't take it if it's in the comment section. So, as far as this card goes, I like this card a lot as far as prospects go. I mean, it is all prospects. Namajunas and VanZant are both prospects. Michael Chiesa, Sage Northcutt, Elias Theodorou. These are all different weight divisions too. Antonio Carlos Jr. middleweight. Aljamain Sterling, one of the top prospects in bantamweight and just in the UFC in general. Michael Graves, not a bad prospect. Ponzinibbio, if you want to, he's not really a prospect anymore. Andreas Stahl, though, he's still a prospect. Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts makes his UFC debut. Zubaira Tukhugov, that guy is really good. Kailin Curran fights as well. So this is a great prospect card. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it too. There's some fun stylistic matchups as well. Let's get started. In the main event, we have Thug Rose Namajunas versus Paige 12 Gauge VanZant. Well, VanZant has been something of, or someone that the UFC clearly wants to build up. This is a really good fight for her. VanZant has a 6-1 record, 1 TKO, 2 subs. She's only 21 years old. She's actually going to be the shorter fighter at 5'4". She's on a 4-fight win streak right now, most recently beating Alex Chambers. She trains out of Team Alpha Male. She has a strong clinch. Her ground and pound is good. It's just very constant. She's constantly working. It's high output. She's always pushing forward. She has strong cardio. She's really good in the scramble. Her stand-up, though, I don't think it's that great. Her clinch striking is good, and her entries into the clinch kind of aren't very good either. Thug Rose Namajunas, 3-2 record, with all 3 of her wins being by submission. 23 years old. She's going to be a taller fighter at 5'5". She has some strong Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. She's really good at taking the back. She's good off the scramble. She's also strong off her back. She'll even go for flying arm bars, but she'll go for triangles and whatnot off of her back. Her stand-up is improving. I think that she's getting a better sense of fundamentals than shown in her last fight against Angela Hill. I'll say this right now. If this fight goes to decision, I would go with VanZant. However, one thing about VanZant is that she leaves a lot of openings when she hits the ground, and she's able to get away with it against the opposition she's fought. But I don't think she can do that with Rose Namajunas, especially if she like goes for a head and arm throw and gives up her back. I think Namajunas is going to take her back, you know. And I like Namajunas' stand-up better than VanZant's. So while I do think that VanZant can take Namajunas down, because Namajunas, quite honestly, does not have good takedown defense, I don't know if she can keep her there, and I don't know if she'll be able to avoid all like the submissions that are going to come her way. So I am going to go with Thug Rose Namajunas to win this by submission. I can also see a situation where Paige just wears her down and eventually gets like a decision, possibly TKO win, but probably like a decision win. I think that's possible as well. However, I see Namajunas winning that one by submission. Next fight, that Michael Maverick Chiesa fights Jim Miller. Jim Miller, 25-6 record with 1 no contest. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 14 wins by sub, 32 years old. He's going to be the shorter fighter at 5'8". He is a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with solid stand-up. He uses a lot of the same combination, too, that ends with a kick. His wrestling is solid as well, and he's real resilient, too. He's a guy that's really hard to put away. Chiesa, 12-2 record, 8 wins by sub, 4 wins by decision, 27 years old. He's made the taller fighter at 6'1", training out of Six Jiu-Jitsu with the likes of Santos and Juliana Pena. He is an Ultimate Fighter winner with strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He has really good back control. When he takes the back, he usually gets to choke. He's really strong at taking it and keeping it. His wrestling is actually pretty solid. And as far as striking goes, his stand-up's still really sloppy when he punches. The thing that he's getting better at, though, is clinch striking. This one's tough for me to call because I've been underestimating Jim Miller for a while now. I think the wheels are starting to fall off with him. I still don't think he should have got the win over Danny Castillo in his last fight. And at least with so this one's really tough, but I'm going to go Chiesa here to win this one by submission, actually. I just think that I think it's going to be a kind of a tough stylistic matchup for Jim Miller just because of the height. Chiesa's just really awkward. Like, he has some really awkward striking that does manage to catch his opponent. And then, like I say, he's a good wrestler. He can take it back. If he's on top of Jim Miller, I can see him staying on top. So I can see Chiesa being able to take Miller down. And in the stand-up, I favor Miller, but I think Chiesa can do pretty well there. So, yeah, I'm going to go Michael Chiesa to win this by submission. It would not surprise me if he takes it back and gets a choke. Next fight after that, Sage Super Northcutt fights Cody the Fist Pfister. Cody Pfister, 12-4 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. That's his 3 losses by submission, 25 years old. He's going to be a bit shorter at 5'10". The name of Pfister's game really is his wrestling. I mean, he's been using that in his last 2 fights. And his overall top control. He managed to win his last fight, lost against Montazeri. Sage Northcutt. So this guy is pretty much like the next big thing in the UFC. 6-0 undefeated record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub, 19 years old. He's 6 foot, and he is big for the weight class. He is a finisher. He's never been past the second round. He has a karate base, and he can really see it on the stand-up. But, he actually has a good offensive takedown ability and good clinch striking, and I believe he's training at the TriStar. The things that really help Northcutt, the karate base doesn't hurt. It really doesn't. It'll help his movement. It helps his accuracy. Looks like he has a good kicking game, and as shown in his last fight, has a good elbow game, too. The name of the game with Northcutt, it really is just physicality. This guy's he gets your hands on you and he wants to hurt you. Whether you're on the ground or standing, if he's in the clinch, he's going to throw elbows. If he's on top, he's going to punch you and look for the choke or something. And he's just really young, too. He's only 19 and super athletic. That athleticism should be able to get him relatively far. And he's training at the right camp, training at a big camp now. Should be able to beat Cody Pfister. So yeah, I'm gonna go Sage Northcutt to win this one by KO or TKO. Would not surprise me if he gets a submission, like a rear naked choke. I can just see Northcutt just being the more physically dominating fighter. And he should be the better athlete. Okay, next fight after that, Thiago Marreta Santos fights Elias the Spartan Theodorou. Theodorou, 11-0 undefeated record, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub, 27 years old, is an Ultimate Fighter winner. He doesn't necessarily excel at any one aspect of MMA, but the thing with Theodorou is that he's always pushing forward and he's always in his opponent's face. He does not give his opponent time to breathe. His stand-up's kind of sloppy, but like I said, he makes up for it by just being in his opponent's face and throwing stuff. His wrestling's good. He does have some strong ground and pound, and he has good cardio. Santos, 11-3 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub, 31 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Trains out of Tata Fight Team. I forgot who else trains out of there. There's actually some other guys that are pretty decent that train out of Tata Fight Team. Name of his game is his kickboxing. He's real heavy-handed. He did a head kick KO on his last opponent. And he's been something of a surprisingly fun action fighter at middleweight. I actually like what I see from Thiago Santos because honestly, he was a guy that seriously looked like he would get bounced from the UFC quite quickly. And now he's kind of firmly established himself as, like I said, fun action fighter. With that said, I got to go with Elias Theodorou to win this one. Probably by submission, maybe a ground and pound finish. I just think that Elias is just going to be in his face at all times. He's going to get hit, though, Theodorou, and that's what's going to be very interesting. But I think Theodorou is just going to close the gap. I think he might even try and take Santos down and just ground and pound him and just outwork him. It's not that he's going to be necessarily the more technical fighter. That's the thing with Theodorou. He's not very technical yet, but he can outwork his opponent at this time. And I think he can do that against Thiago Santos. So Elias Theodorou for the win by KO or TKO, probably like a ground and pound. Okay, on to the prelims. John Doomsday Howard fights Tim the Dirty Bird Means. Means has a 24-7 record with 1 draw, 16 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by submission. He's 31 years old. He's tall for the weight class at 6'2". Trains at a fit NHB with the likes of there's a really good flyweight, the Tasmanian Devil guy, Rayborg. Yeah, Rayborg trains out of fit NHB. The name of Means' game is his Muay Thai, especially if he gets a clinch. He's not a bad puncher, though, but he has really strong elbows and knees, and he is heavy-handed. His grappling is improving. He did submit George Sullivan as well. John Howard, 23-11 record, 9 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO or TKO. 32 years old, he'll be the shorter fighter at 5'7", which is not good for him if he's in close because Means will probably knee him pretty good there. With Howard, his stand-up's pretty good. He's heavy-handed, and he can grapple a bit. With that said, I got to go with Tim Means to win this one by KO or TKO, especially if Means gets on the inside. He's going to hit those knees. He's going to hit those elbows. And like I said, the dude hits hard. And he's real mean, too. Really. I think Howard might be able to win if he takes a fight to the ground. But otherwise, he's going to be the shorter fighter here, which should favor Means considerably. And Means has been improving his grappling. So Tim Means by KO or TKO. So yes, I am actually calling a lot of finishes for this particular card. Actually, almost all of the fights I'm going to predict a finish. Next fight after that, Omari and Wolverine Akhmedov fights Sergio Moraes. Okay, Sergio Moraes is taking it. Oh, I forgot to put his stats. Well, I need to know with Sergio Moraes, he's taking this fight on short notice. He is a top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He does have a good offensive takedown ability. If he's on top, he's looking for that sub. His stand-up, well, he's looking to get a dominant position, and then he'll get a sub. And he has some pretty unique submissions, too. If you look at the one he did on Neil Magny, the triangle, that was really good. His stand-up, though, it's pretty reckless. I mean, he just kind of goes in there and wings punches. Omari Akhmedov, 15-2 record, 7 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by submission, 28 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Training out of Jackson Winklejohn. Does have a sambo base. Stand-up's all right. His cardio isn't that good. It seems like he puts a lot into each strike. And yeah, even though it's a sambo base, he does get taken down nonetheless. But Akhmedov does hit pretty hard. I'm honestly just I kind of see this fight going like the Gunnar Nelson Omari Akhmedov fight, where like eventually Akhmedov's gonna get taken down and submitted. Because Sergio Moraes should be infinitely better on the ground than Omari Akhmedov. So with that said, I am going to go with Sergio Moraes to be able to take this fight to the ground and eventually get the sub. So Sergio Moraes by submission. Nice fight after that. Kevin King Casey fights Antonio Carlos Jr. Casey, 9-3 record with 1 no contest, 3 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO TKO, 34 years old. He's a shorter fighter at 5'11", training out of Black House. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His wrestling's good, his stand-up's actually getting better, and he's showing some heavy-handedness as well. Antonio Carlos Jr., 5-1 record, 4 wins by sub, 1 win by decision, 25 years old. He's going to be the taller fighter at 6'1", training out of ATT these days, and he's an Ultimate Fighter winner, and he is big for 185. I mean, this guy is huge. Kevin Casey's big in like a muscular way. With Junior, the name of his game is he's also a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His wrestling is actually not too bad, and his stand-up is improving. I'm really high on Antonio Carlos Jr. I think that he's improving at a really good rate, and stylistically, like I don't see what Kevin Casey has that Carlos Jr. doesn't have better. Like I think even stand-up wise, I think Carlos Jr. might have a better stand-up. Wrestling, I think, could go either way. And on the ground, I actually like Antonio Carlos Jr. I like his ground game more than Kevin Casey's. So I am going to go Antonio Carlos Jr. to win this one. I can see him actually take it back. So I'll go by submission. It actually wouldn't surprise me if he gets a KO or TKO. But I'll go Antonio Carlos Jr. by submission. Next fight, that Johnny Eduardo fights Aljamain Funk Master Sterling. Eduardo, 27-9 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 13 wins by sub. He has 7 losses by submission, 37 years old on a 2-fight win streak, training out of Namajunas. He last fought in May of 2014 where he knocked out Eddie Wineland. He does have good stand-up. I believe he's actually the head striking coach or something of Namajunas, and the striking coach for Jose Aldo and Kenan Barao, if I'm not mistaken, or what I've been told. But yeah, Eduardo, his stand-up's good. He's heavy-handed. He uses a lot of head movement as well. His grappling, average at best. Aljamain Sterling, 11-0 undefeated record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. 26 years old, training out of Cerro Longo. He is a strong wrestler with good ground and pound and good top control. Stand-up, though, still needs some work. I'd say it's just average. He does have a good kicking game, though. With that said, I got to go with Aljamain Sterling to win this one by submission. He was able to take down guys like Mizugaki and whatnot down. I just don't see why he wouldn't be able to take down Johnny Eduardo, keep him there, hit some ground and pound, and actually get the sub, too. He hit that really unique arm triangle on Takeo Mizugaki. I'm not saying he's going to do that sub, but I think he can get some sort of submission on Johnny Eduardo. So, yeah, Aljamain Sterling by submission. Next fight, that Santiago Gentle Boa Ponzinibbio fights Andreas Real Steel Stahl. Stahl, 9-1 records, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub, 27 years old. He last fought Gilbert Burns back in July of 2014. That's the last time he fought. He is a good wrestler with good takedown defense. His clinch striking is pretty solid. His stand-up's average. It's a tool to, like, I actually rewatched the Gilbert Burns fight. And the way he was striking was he kept striking and pushing forward until he could get his opponent against the cage. That's kind of what he uses striking for. But what I've seen from him was pretty good. You know, he throws a good 1-2 kick combo, for example, and whatnot. Santiago Ponzinibbio, 20-3 record, 11 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by KO TKO, 29 years old, training out of Team Noguera and ATT. He does have some good stand-up. He is heavy-handed, and he's always pushing forward and very aggressive. I'd say his grappling's average. His takedown defense isn't that bad. You know, he's not like totally lost on the ground or anything like that. I did watch Ponzinibbio rewatch his fight against Sean Strickland. And he looked good there. He's always pushing forward. He's always in his opponent's face. And he was throwing some pretty heavy leather. He looks for that right hand a lot of times. This one's actually really hard for me to call because I did like what I saw out of both of these guys. I don't know what the layoff's going to do. I don't know if Andrea, because the thing with Gilbert Burns is his striking looked really good when he fought like Stahl. But, you know, Burns was still looking for that takedown a lot. Ponzinibbio, from what I can tell with this fighting style, isn't going to look for that takedown. And Stahl's hard to take down and keep down. So I think in the stand-up, I favor Ponzinibbio. I can see him get clinched against a cage a lot, but it's that open space where I can see him get the better of Andreas Stahl. So I'm going to go Santiago Ponzinibbio by KO or TKO to win this one. Very interesting fight, though. Next fight after that, Michael Graves fights Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. Danny Roberts, 11-1 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's on a 5-fight win streak. It is his first fight in the UFC, and he last fought in May of 2014. I watched his 2 most recent fights in Cage Warriors, Jim Wallhead and the Suarez fight. I liked his boxing. He does use a jab. I didn't like his takedown defense, though. He got taken down far too much to my liking, and his opponents did manage to get dominant positions with him quite easily, too. His scrambling ability, though, wasn't too bad. Michael Graves, 5-0 undefeated record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub, 24 years old, training out of ATT. Graves, he's a good wrestler. His stand-ups, I'd say it's like average. It's not that bad. He will go for some like a spinning strike or something every once in a while, but it's not that bad. It's not that great either. With that said, I am going to go Michael Graves to win this one. I know he didn't look that great in The Ultimate Fighter. He looked good against Vicente Luque in his first fight in the UFC. For one thing, with Roberts, I didn't like his wrestling. Michael Graves, I think, should be able to take him down relatively consistently to keep him honest. Might even be able to get some good positions on him as well. So I can see I'm going to go Michael Graves to win this one, mainly because of the wrestling. Michael Graves by decision. Next fight after that, Phillipe Super Nover fights Zubaira Warrior Tukhugov. Nover, 11-5 record with 1 draw, 1 win by KO, 5 wins by sub, 31 years old on a 4-fight win streak, training out of Hendo Gracie's. He actually has some pretty solid stand-up, and he is good on the ground, too. Tukhugov, 17-3 record, 6 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub, 24 years old on an 8-fight win streak, trains out of Tiger Muay Thai. Gangnam Ryu trains there. Is that Roger Huerta's gym, right? If I'm not mistaken. Like Huerta trains there, and so does a dude that just retired. I forgot his name. But anyways, good gym. The thing with Tukhugov, he last fought in October 2014. Name of his game is a stand-up. He has some really good stand-up. He uses combinations well and hits pretty hard. With that said, I mean, Nover did beat the Korean Bulldozer in his last Yochu Nam by like pretty much grinding him. You know, he just went for the takedown, grind. In the third round, he couldn't do that, but he managed to do that in the first two. However, I'm high on Zubaira Tukhugov. I think he is a dark horse prospect. He's just one of these guys that people don't know about that's really good. I think he can beat up Nover and stand up pretty well. Hopefully he can defend his takedowns. So yeah, Zubaira Tukhugov by KO or TKO. And finally, Kailin Curran fights Emily Kagan. Emily Kagan, 3-2 record, 3 wins by decision, 34 years old, training at Jackson Winklejohn. She's trading wins and losses right now. Was recently coming off that loss to Angela Hill. There's not much I can say about Kagan's game. You know, like she's pretty good in the clinch, I suppose. Her stand-up's kind of weak. Her ground game's not great by any means. It's just all right. Kailin Curran, 3-2 record with all 3 wins by decision, 24 years old. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. She does have some good wrestling and good ground and pound. And as shown in the Alex Chambers fight, she was winning that fight up until she got armbarred. I mean, she made like pretty much a rookie mistake, but like she was well on her way to win that fight. I think Kailin Curran's still a pretty good prospect. She didn't do that bad against Paige VanZant. She's only 24 years old. Her striking looks to be improving. She just made, a rookie mistake. Went to the ground when she was winning in the stand-up. But in this case, I can see I got Kailin Curran win this one by decision. I think she can take Kagan down. I think she might even be better in the stand-up. Okay, to recap, I have Rose Namajunas beating Paige VanZant, Michael Chiesa over Jim Miller, Sage Northcutt beating Cody Pfister, Elias Theodorou over Thiago Santos. On the prelims, I have Tim Means beating John Howard, Sergio Moraes over Omari Akhmedov, Antonio Carlos Jr. beating Kevin Casey, Aljamain Sterling over Johnny Eduardo, Santiago Ponzinibbio beating Andreas Stahl, Michael Graves beating Danny Roberts, Zubaira Tukhugov over Phillipe Nover, and Kailin Curran over Emily Kagan. So that's it for my predictions for UFC Fight Night 80, VanZant versus Namajunas. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And also don't forget to participate in the predictions contest, I guess. MMA For You Predictions contest. Just email me at thecndchannel@gmail.com and send in your predictions. So yeah, that's pretty much it for MMA For You. Thank you guys very much.